Hello, everyone. This is Gloria Lamide here. Welcome to this episode where I'll be talking about the stigma attached to mental health. I've written a book recently which has been published, and the book is titled The Veil: Destigmatization of Mental Health. Why is there a stigma attached to mental health? I would like to hear from you. Once you've listened to this audio, leave your comments below and tell me your own view. Why do you think there is stigma attached to mental health? I would like to hear what you think about it. It's interesting to know people have various opinions or thoughts about this topic. However, lots of people struggle with this. Now, if people struggle with this illness, why is there stigma attached to it? Why is it not made so that they can easily access treatment, especially in the African nations? In the Western world, there's treatment everywhere. Since the Equality Act came about, anyone who has this condition can now live freely in the community. They have access to services and all of that. However, the case is not quite the same in many African nations where mental health is still demonized and people are made to feel like, they're not okay. They should be hidden away, kept away from everyone. Even your next door neighbor might not know you have someone in your home who is experiencing or struggling in this area. And I began to wonder why. Why is this so? Back in Africa, I'm African Nigerian. We are told whatever, most families, grew up hearing this saying, whatever happens in your home stays in your home. You mustn't discuss it with anyone. And then people are suffering, are not able to really express themselves because they feel it's the family secret, and they will be betraying their members of their family if they were to involve an outsider. However, my point is, how do you get help if you are not speaking about what you are going through? There's a saying again that says, a problem shared is a problem solved, isn't it? Or is it a problem shared is half solved? Once you speak about it, you're on your way there. Once you begin to accept and acknowledge the situation, you're halfway to getting solutions. Mental health is something that comes in various forms. It could be mild. There are different forms of mental health. Now, how do you take this step to recovery? Is by being diagnosed. However, how will people be diagnosed if they are being hidden away? There's no way diagnosis can come into the picture. So I have written my book. It's available on Amazon. You can type in The Veil by Gloria Lamide and it will come up, or you simply type in my name, Gloria Lamide, and all the books I have authored will come up. The Veil is my third book. Once you type in my name, it will come up. Get yourself a copy and look at the various topics I've treated, I've covered, and look at what I've written there. And I'm sure you will be blessed. But this episode, and you'll be blessed and educated on this topic from my point of view. This is my point of view. I've written it based on research I have done. So you would find all the references and everything where I got my information from. So the stigma attached to mental health prevents people from getting the much needed care, and help they need. Instead, it makes them feel isolated. They're isolated, alienated from members of the public and all of that. There is shame attached. Why? I would like to hear from you. Have you experienced this? Do you know someone who has experienced this type of situation where you live, maybe your culture? Oftentimes it's culture. My culture, people say, oh, my culture this, in my culture we don't do this, or the other factor people always quote is religion. Oh, based on my religion I can't do this or I can't do that. And then some people feel, oh, someone with a mental health issue it has a demon, is demon possessed. As a result, they need to be sectioned away and delivered by a special pastor, a holy man, or it depends on the religion. It may not be a Christian. Other religions have their own leaders they call on to help deliver this person from the demon in them. you know well, when you talk about demons, I'm not saying those are I'm not saying they don't exist. That's a discussion for another day. They exist, you know however, if we do not treat mental health issues, if they are not diagnosed, if they're not taken to the right professionals, people in the right profession to take a good look at them. The doctors are there, counselors are there, there's therapy, all sorts of organizations are there that can take care of this, that can take care of these people, by being properly diagnosed first. Again, mental health should be seen as any other type of ailment like flu. When someone has flu or any other sickness or disease, they are simply taken to a doctor. So why is mental health different? Why are people made to feel that there is something wrong with them because there's a mental health situation going on? So this stigma on mental health has to be tackled by everybody. This is not something that can be done by a select few. Everyone has to tackle the stigma attached to mental health. When this happens, then we will see that stigmatization will be eradicated in no time. And mental health is something that, interestingly, doesn't pick the race or who to come on. It happens to anyone, irrespective of color, irrespective of race, irrespective of, rich or poor. It can happen to anybody at any time. So when everyone tackles this, I think the fight to reduce this stigma will be on our way to reducing the stigma attached to mental health. Now, I'm going to be, how can we support people? If you have anyone around you who may be experiencing some form of mental health or the other, I'm going to be talking about ways we can support these people. One thing you can do, if you have ever experienced any of these issues, is to tell your story so they don't feel alone. When they hear someone else's story of how they stepped up, went and got diagnosed, that's where you know what it is that's actually wrong and what type you actually have. Once you are diagnosed, if they hear your story of how you were able to overcome and now live life as normal as possible, that's a step towards supporting someone who is struggling at the moment. The other thing you can do is look for an organization, fighting the stigma, and support that organization in any way you can. There are lots of charities out there fighting the stigma attached to mental health. Support them and show them that you are there to help them in any way possible, instead of making someone who has a mental health situation feel blamed or condemned, blaming them, for experiencing these symptoms that they have no control over. The other thing I've heard as well, people often say is, get over it. What's going on with you? Why don't you get over it and move on with life? Now tell me, how can someone who is experiencing deep depression just get over it without any kind of help around? They need this support and they need help. It is wrong to tell anyone it's only a phase. Take control over yourself and move on. Already they feel condemned, they feel judged, they feel unworthy because you don't seem to show any kind of compassion. stigma makes a lot of people feel ashamed for something that they can't even control. They have no control over this, you know. And once they begin to feel this way, like I said earlier, they will not go out and look for help. And that's a different story in Africa, because most times the family members will not even take them out to look for help, and they want to like hide instead of sharing what the problem is. These people already, they carry, I believe, you can imagine, if you can put yourself in the shoes of someone going through this. They're already burdened. They already feel, oh, I don't want to be a burden to someone else. They already feel like they have a heavy burden on them. And for others to now express judgment on them, it even makes it worse. So, like I said earlier, support people. If you have been through this, support people by sharing your story. I will be, since I've written my book, I will be interviewing different people. If you have a story to share on how you overcame, I would love to hear from you. Contact me. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Glorious Glow Empowerment. Leave a comment there and let me know you would like to be interviewed. I have a Facebook page, Glorious Glow Empowerment Coach. I have my website, gloriousglowempowerment.com. I also have my Instagram page. It's Glorious Glow. You can contact me in various ways, and I would like to hear your story of what happened, how you overcame, and how life is treating you now. Again, support. Look for an organization to support them in as they continually fight this stigma. Talk openly about any mental health situation. If you know someone in your family, there's no point hiding them away from others. Talk openly about it, because then you'd find help. If you live in an area where there seem to be no organizations to help you, go to your doctor. Your first point of call, your doctor. Go to your doctor and they'll be able to direct you to the right organization or the right source of help. The other thing I believe about mental health stigma is because people have not taken the time to educate themselves about this. Go and get some education. You're not sure about what it is and why this person around you has certain symptoms. Get a book, go online. Everyone has access to the internet these days. Go online, do some research, educate yourself about this symptom. Not in Africa, most times they say the people are mad, they are crazy or something like that. But before they get to that stage, it can be nipped in the bud by simply taking them to a specialist and getting them diagnosed and giving them the required medication, instead of letting them just go about and making things worse. The other thing we must do is we must encourage equality. Now, any other physical ailments and somebody who is mentally ill can be treated. It's not difficult. There's nothing special about mental health. Treatment is necessary. When you are sick, as I said earlier, you go to your doctor. The same thing when somebody has a mental health situation, please take them to the doctor as well. Now, we must also show compassion. The other way you can support or help someone with a mental health situation is to show compassion. Show them love, show them some support. Make them feel that they are equal, they are the same as any other one, and shouldn't feel less than other people. That's very important. Now, the other point is we need to be conscious, be aware of the language you use around them or when speaking to them. We need to be aware. We become aware when we have compassion. When we are compassionate, we become conscious of how we speak around them so they don't feel condemned, like I mentioned earlier as well. And also, we need to show them support by empowering them. How do you empower someone with a mental health problem? Help them, empower them. Let them know that, look, this is only a phase. You're going to get over this. Help them believe in themselves. Instead of saying, oh, this is the end of the world for you, don't make them feel that way. Help them believe in themselves. And if one thing, I'm a secondary school teacher, one thing I have experienced here while teaching is when we see a child, we know that this child may have a special need, and the parents are approached, denial sets in. They don't want to accept it. They say, no way, that's not my child. And there are offered ways, different ways of assisting this child, but some do not want to accept it. They want to live in denial. They feel all the child has to do is work harder, and that's not helping. With parents, friends, neighbors, everyone needs to be honest with themselves about the situation. Be honest with yourself, be honest with the individual that they have to get treatment. It's very important to get treatment, get diagnosed and get treated. All right? Yeah. So there's no point harboring stigma against anyone with a mental health problem. We all need to take the responsibility and help these people out. There's no point making them feel bad about themselves. So I've listed a few points here to be nice. If you don't know anything about mental health problems, go and get yourself educated about it. Know what the symptoms you can see, know what they are, and like I said earlier, there are different levels, different stages of mental health. It is best to get them diagnosed early and start the treatment before it escalates. I did a course, an MSc course in psychology, that got me interested in, how the brain works and all of that, mental health and various topics in this area. That's why I've written my book, where I feel like we need to take a stand and begin to educate ourselves more, get more knowledge, know more about things that we seem to shy away from and hide from. There's no point hiding. We only have one life. Let's live it to the best of our abilities. Till I come your way again, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting me on this podcast. I'll carry on and come up with the other topics on this series. Take care and bye.